together a little video collage of some of the neat moments that I captured on home video over the years. Really a wide variety of assortments, some music and some really neat moments. The best of which probably is the interview I did with Grandma and Grandpa Terry back in December of 1988. Now, I was a junior at the time, and if I could go back and do the interview all over, I would obviously ask different questions. But if you can get beyond my dumb questions and dumb comments, what you find is a real treasure. And, I got it plugged into the wall.
What,
so
you
it's
can
full.
see it? You can see it in there?
Yeah.
You can't see it on here. Yeah, but how can you tell that it's half full?
Because it's the little dot. See, I got it plugged into the wall now, so it's full. See? But if I take it out of the wall, say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
See you in 88.
Not Grandma.
A couple, three,
Since
four
October or something like
Yeah,
that.
you know, and then everything all wrapped and everything. The other day she comes to school and she's talking about having all the spare time.
There are places I remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever, not for better, and some have gone, and some remain. All these places had their moments with lovers and friends I still can recall. Some are dead and some are living. In my life, I love them all. But of all these friends and lovers, there is no one compares with you, and these memories lose their meaning when I think of love as something new. Though I know I'll never ever lose affection for people and things that went before, I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I love you more. But in my life, I loved you more. I love you more. I love you more.
Like at 7 o'clock, at 12 noon, and at 5:30, and everyone knew that they needed to be home for meals on time. And they were there if they were hungry. We always had, at noon, we always had like a roast or potatoes and vegetable and usually always a pie. And because both my Grandpa Terry and my Grandpa Sluter lived with us, and we had a hired man, and oftentimes we had 2 hired men. The pie was always gone at noon, so we would have like either cookies and sauce or cake for supper, so we baked usually a pie and a cake or pie and cookies every day. And so I baked lots and lots of pies. And I also helped my mom in the house. I never had to go out in the chicken coop because I always sneezed because I had hay fever and asthma, so I didn't have to go out in that terrible dust, so I sneezed and sneezed. Besides that, I never liked the chickens anyways, and to have to get them out of their nests was absolutely horrible. So I did learned how to bake cakes and pies, and Mom used to bake bread at least once a week. I remember we had a birthday party for Dad, and Mike was a baby, and Mom went in the living room to nurse him. And she went in there and she said she smelled smoke, and then they thought, no, it was just because Aunt Catherine and Chris and Dad were all smoking. And she said, no, she really thought that she did smell smoke. And everybody just kind of sat around, and all of a sudden when they got up to leave, here the fire was burning along the eaves, but it was raining so hard that it was keeping it from going too far because of the asbestos siding and the roof. It was just kind of holding it right there. But the house then had burned so deep, like in the eaves, that they decided it was better that they tear it down. So we lived in half the house with a canvas over it, and we had a trailer out there while they were going to start building the new house. But one thing I remember is Aunt Catherine and Kenny Morley picking up the big heavy old safe and just carrying it out. And when we could finally move in our new house, 4 of them could hardly lift the same safe. So I guess when you get under pressure sometimes you really get that extra strength to do certain things like that. And my grandpa just sat in his garage and watched us kids went down to Chet and Ida Mays. They took us down there like right away, and Mom, that was my uncle that just lived over the hill and stuff, so we could be in out of the rain and away from all the excitement. And the neighbors all came to help fight it, and it was just kind of a scary thing. And then my grandpa ended up going down to Madison and staying with Aunt Catherine for some time while we were building the house because we had to live in such small quarters. And then I remember when our house was done, I think it was in the fall, like maybe October or something, and my mom was so excited about moving into the new house, and she got really sick and couldn't even hardly help. She just, and Mom hardly ever got sick, and I guess I just remember that because she was so sick and she was so excited about moving, and yet she just could hardly get out of bed for those days. So it was really exciting when we finally got moved in, and my grandpa had this great big old bed and dresser set that was really neat, but when he was going to move into the house, he decided he needed to have it finished, and so he took it and had it cut down and all finished. So he had a nice bedroom set to move in, and that's still in the front bedroom where Mom sews at home. Sometimes I think why I like the elderly and have a little patience for the older people is because my 2 grandpas lived with us, and so we just grew up thinking that they were part of the family, which they were. And I guess that they never really interfered in raising us because my dad was very strict, and if he said no, we knew that he meant it. I can only ever remember of being spanked once ever in my life, and I don't think my brothers were spanked probably any more than that. They just knew when he spoke or when he looked at us that was it. We weren't going to do it, or we shouldn't do it, or we were going to be in trouble, so we didn't do it. And Mom just, Dad did most of the discipline. I mean, Mom, I'm sure, was right behind what he said and everything, but it was Dad that spoke, or Dad that looked at you and you knew you better behave. But I don't think that that's all bad. I think that respect and discipline, minding, following rules doesn't hurt anyone. It just makes you a better person.
Big memories is the night our house got struck by lightning. Up till that time, I was never afraid of storms, or they'd have a bad storm and I'd sleep through it. I never heard it at all. That particular night, I think Warren and I had just gotten out of the bathtub. Changed from nowadays. Used to take a bath on Saturday night if you needed it or not. That was the only time you ever took a bath, unless there was some real big doings going. But we just got out of the bathtub and there was this really loud crack and all the lights went out. And they went down, found a blown fuse, and looked around, and everything looked okay. And then we went upstairs to our bedroom to get our, I don't know what we went up for, but you could smell smoke. And then, as I remember it, me and Catherine looked out one window and somebody else looked out the other, and the whole roof on the house was on fire. And they had looked at the barn and the trees before that, but nobody thought of the house, I guess. But all us kids got rushed off, went down to my aunt and uncle's, Chet and Ida Mays, Sluters, and that's all we basically knew about it. Some fairly rough times after that. They ended up tearing down half of the house and kind of putting up a canvas and started building a new house. But we got by fine, as we always did. We never had a lot of stuff, but I think everybody appreciated what we had and was happy with it. And Mom and Dad always had time for 4-H, haul us here, haul us there. They were leaders. We really appreciate that. Probably never told them that. Haul us to town, school things, and that type of thing. Always had something to do. It was just seemed natural. We had our chores to do. We helped throw down hay, throw down straw, throw down silage, feed the cows, clean the barns. Pretty much Warren had his jobs and I had mine. We always got along pretty good. We used to like to do a lot of target practicing, shoot our .22s. Grandpa Terry, his bedroom was where Mom's sewing room is now, and grackles or blackbirds used to be out there in the pine trees, and they start squawking about 4:30 in the morning, and he didn't like them, and he gave us a nickel for every one we could shoot. So we had to shoot enough blackbirds so that we could get a new box of shells. We went to the Western Auto Store and bought Revelations because they were the cheapest. They were, I think, 39 cents for shorts or 59 for long rifles. And we got to get enough birds so we get another box of shells on Friday night when we go to town. Warren and I we've done a lot of squirrel hunting. Later we went bow hunting for deer, and deer hunting. Had our early years of when we really started deer hunting, we were really lucky, and we each got a deer both years, and the first 2 years, and ate sausage till it was coming out of our ears. Dad always fixed things. I guess that's one of my biggest memories of all the neighbors brought their stuff for him to fix. And he was always welding on something or straightening something or fixing it, and really taught me a lot. And I guess that's where I got the idea that you fix stuff yourself. You know, before I probably get in a lot of trouble for doing it, that I break more things than I fix a lot of times, but it just naturally, you fix it or try to fix it instead of asking somebody else to fix it. And I think it's helped me in my career, because common sense fixes more problems than all the tests and special things that you can run on our computers. I would say 75% of the time it's just common sense that you can figure out what's broke versus books and stuff. One of the other things, I guess, that sticks in my mind is one of my first bike rides when I wasn't supposed to be riding. Cousin Lauren had his bike there, and I don't really remember why his bike was there, but I wasn't really big enough to ride it, but I was told I shouldn't ride it, but I did anyway, and went down the driveway, and I slowed down. I looked both ways, swear there was no cars, went out on the road, went down the road a little ways, and I tipped over. I was over on my side of the road, and the next thing I know is a car sliding by me sideways, and she went in the ditch and tipped over right by the mailbox right in front of the house. I really don't, I guess she was just learning to drive herself. I think it was Mary McCormick who married one of the neighbors later. I don't know if she married Steve. But, that was a shock. Christmas time, I can remember, well, most of the time we went and cut a Christmas tree. And when I was in FFA, we got trees and we planted down in the flats. There's 2 different bunches. I think I planted some and Warren planted some, but we, by today's standards, had some pretty spindly looking Christmas trees, but Mom always made them look real nice, and I always liked them. I like them better than the ones today where they're so full that the stuff just lays on them, where you could hang ornaments on the branches, and I really liked them better. I can remember one day we're going to get one. Dad had the old Chevy pickup truck, the old green, I think it was 49 Chevy, and we went down right at the end of the lane and walked through that patch, and everything was too big. So he says, well, let's go over to the other one, look at them. And as I remember, there was no snow on the ground, so we were going to just drive over there. Well, the field had been plowed, and when we started across, we were going crossways across this plowed field, and it was relatively smooth, but the farther out in the field we got, the rougher it got. And we didn't dare slow down because we'd be stuck a long ways back up to get the tractor. And we were bouncing so hard that we were both hitting our heads on the cab. And then he'd come down and he'd hit the gas and jerk, and we'd go over another bump. And I can remember that ride well.
All right, Grandpa, you can answer this question first. How long have you been living on this farm?
All my life.
All your life, huh? Never moved once.
No.
Grandma?
49 years.
49 years?
49.
Did you live in Baraboo before then?
I put my fan. It's just down the road from here.
Ah.
Oh.
That brings me to my next question. You can answer this one first, Grandma. What was your childhood like? What kind of things did you do for fun, and what things were different than how people are brought up today? Or
Slid downhill. You could slide downhill the road that time. I never got to go very much, so that's it.
Grandpa?
Well, back when I was a kid, there weren't any automobiles. Everything was horse-drawn, or you walked. Went to school in the country school. One teacher, 8 classes, 8 grades. We was pretty lucky. We only had a quarter of a mile to go to school. Some of the kids had to walk a mile and a half.
Talking about raising kids and all that, you guys are grandparents now. What things do you miss about having kids of your own and having your own kids go to school? That type of thing. Grandpa?
Well, when our kids went to school, they had a bus to ride. We had to walk when we went to school. Until Sharon growed up old enough to drive the car, we had to do some chasing. Every time there was something going on, somebody had to take them, go and get them. Otherwise, I guess it wasn't much different than anywhere else. Kids in the country didn't get into a lot of things to do like the kids to do today.
Grandma?
What do you want?
Anything you miss about having your own kids go to school and having a house full of kids of your own living here?
Miss the radio blaring away. They'd turn it down and they'd turn it up because they couldn't hear it. Kids had to get on the bus at 6:30 in the morning when they went to high school.
Wow. Next question, Grandma. What is your most memorable moment on the farm here?
Oh, when our house burned.
How that happened?
Lightning.
Oof.
Mike was a baby, and it was pouring rain and thundering and lightning, and I carried him down would that be? Fourth of a mile down the road?
Jerry, Chris took you.
Chris took me down to Chet's?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I thought I walked down there.
Chris took you down.
Mike was just a baby.
Grandpa, your most memorable moment on the farm?
Times on the farm when they built the new barn back in 1922. That was an exciting summer. We lost our machine sheds in 1933 with fire. That was a memorable time. And things that stand out most in my mind. Oh, we had a lot of incidents that happened on the farm over the years, but those are the most.
Horses running away.
Oh, that got to be a habit after a while.
The horses had run away from them. One time, Sharon was right out by the barn and the buggy and the horses run away. And I thought, oh my gosh.
I guess growing up on the farm, we had lots of places. We was always exploring up on the rocks, making hideouts and riding the horses. We made the motor scooter. That was quite a feat. My cousin Lauren he had a store-bought little motor scooter, and he had a Popular Mechanics, and they had a plan for a wood frame one. So it called for special wheels and all kind of stuff, so we scrounged around, we found a board and took some wheels off an old silage cart that it was rusted out, and had an old motor that was under the bench that we took apart and got to run. And we were going to make a belt tightener clutch, but that didn't work, so we just had a straight belt drive. And Dad welded up a front fork for steering, and we made it go. And it would go faster than the store-bought one by a little bit. And we rode it all over. Warren and I rode it double. You just pushed it to start it, and it had a throttle. To stop it, you pulled a wire and shorted out the spark plug. But we found out riding it double, it had pretty small wheels, so wore the tires out pretty fast. So then we decided it was better to one person ride the scooter and pull the other one on the bike. So we'd go fishing that way. We'd go down the crossroad, pulling the bike behind the scooter with a bucket and a fishing pole. One of the things on the scooter, the neighbor, Kenny Morley, I rode the scooter up to borrow his tractor to rake some hay, and I was going to bring it back after lunch, and we were in eating dinner, and pretty soon we heard a scooter coming, and here come Kenny down the road, and figured if we could ride it, he could ride it. And he didn't know how to stop it, and he kept pushing down on the throttle, making it go faster. And I guess it worked the opposite way he thought it should, but he didn't try it the other way. And so he was dragging his feet all the way down the road, and he come through the ditch and up across the yard and got it stopped right up by in the front yard. but it didn't have a lot of power. But he said he wore his shoes out dragging him down the road. I don't know if he did or not, but that's why he's claiming he wore the soles right off his feet. His mom and dad just helped us out all the time, and we're just a farm family, and we didn't have many squabbles. We had a few, but not many.
Old friend, here we are, after all the years and tears and all that we've been through. It feels so good to see you looking back in time. There've been other friends and other loves, but no other one like you. All my life, no one ever has known me better. I must have traveled down a thousand roads, been so many places, seen so many faces, always on my way to something new. But it doesn't matter, 'cause no matter where I go, every road leads back. Every road just seems to lead me back to you. Old friend, there were times I didn't want to see your face or hear your name again. Now those times are far behind me. It's so good to see your smile. I'd forgotten how nobody else could make me smile the way you do. All this time, you're the one I still want beside me. I must have traveled down a thousand roads, been so many places, seen so many faces, always on my way to something new. But it doesn't matter, 'cause no matter where I go, every road leads back. Every road just seems to lead me back to you. Must have traveled down a thousand roads, been so many places, seen so many faces, always on my way to something new. But it doesn't matter, 'cause no matter where I go, every road leads back. Every road just seems to lead me back. Every road leads back. Every road just seems to lead me back to you. Every road just seems to lead me back to
The earliest memories I have of waiting for Phil to come home from school, in the old house looking out, especially in the wintertime. I used to like to do a lot of playing. I remember Grandpa Jim a lot, and I guess kind of associate he kind of took care of me and taught me how to play checkers and some card games. I remember when Mother would make pies, she'd usually have a little extra pie crust left, and she'd make just a small pie with just cinnamon on it. That always seemed like a real special treat. Really enjoyed that. Christmas time was extra special all the way through. And the older I got, I guess the more I appreciated what all they did for Christmas. Gifts that we got, keeping it special. I don't really remember how old I was before I realized who Santa Claus really was. But, I was probably well up in grade school. But that was always a real special time of the year. There's a few other items that come to mind. I remember an incident where when I was fairly young, I'm not sure if it was yet even in school, but there was a mother and somebody else going to a movie, and it was a musical, and Dad wanted to go to a Western, and he asked if I would want to go with him. Well, that was a little bit later, and I really wanted to go to the Western, but I thought if I didn't go, maybe I wouldn't go. So I went to the musical, and for probably now about 45 years, I probably regret not waiting and going to the Western movie. So that was always kind of something that I don't know why I remembered that. I have no idea what movie we saw. Didn't go to too many until they had the Saturday matinees for a while, where I think they were 10 or 15 cents or something like that. Phil and I would go in and watch a Saturday morning movie. A couple other things that come to mind. Always, now that I drive, I've driven for a number of years, wondered how Dad could keep track of the directions. We'd go to family reunions or places, and I can never remember him looking at a map, travel, go there, get there, the right road, not getting lost. When I go to some place, even if I've been there a couple times, I still have to check the map all the time. And I don't know how he ever had that good a sense of direction and knew where to go. But that was always something that was kind of remarkable, I think. A couple other things that somewhat humorous, I think. The year after I graduated from high school, stayed home and kind of worked on the farm and had some classes part-time at the high school. But get up in the morning to do the chores, get up same time that Dad would, and I always remarked that somehow he'd always go to the bathroom, and sometimes I'd have the cow's half milk before he'd get out to the barn. Took him a long time there. Pretty good life though, and when we started college and for 4 years there, Mother really sent a lot of good care packages up with me for eating. That was always nice. Some of the values I think that maintained, one is feeling that church was quite important, and Sharon and I do attend Mass on a regular basis, and I think that's one value that directly comes from the parents. We try to make Christmas somewhat special. I guess we spend a little more time preparing for birthdays too, though, so it's not quite as special as what they had when they were growing up, or when I was growing up.
Question that I didn't think of, but someone else did. How did you and Grandpa meet?
Neighbor.
She just lived up the road, huh? How old were you when you first met?
How old was I?
Yeah.
I suppose when we moved down here, what was I, in 6th grade?
Wow. And then, how long did you two court?
Get mad at each other?
since 6th grade?
No. 4 or 5 years, I suppose.
What is your favorite pastimes? We have Grandma doing one right now, I suppose.
Knitting, taking care of flowers that are outside in the garden, embroidering.
Grandpa?
And now I don't have much favorite pastime. Watching TV.
Smoking.
If I asked you that question 2 years ago, what would you answer?
Well, hasn't been much change the last 2 or 3 years.
Alright, have you had a romantic 49 years? Kind of goes back to our old questions.
Ups and downs. Downs and up.
Yes, I think he had a pretty good 49.
Good.
Another incident that was, I think, kind of humorous now when I look back at it. When I was, I think, still prior to going to school, one time Dad took me up to Wisconsin Rapids with him. He was picking up trees for the county. And on the way up, he offered me a candy bar he had in the glove compartment of the truck. And so I started to realize that he kept some candy bars in the glove compartment. And sometime later that summer, I checked out the glove compartment, and sure enough, there's a couple candy bars there. And I thought, gee, I should put these someplace where they'll be safe, and I could get them later. And so in the truck, there was an old, the heater was inside and had a little door on it. So I opened the heater, and I put the candy bars in there, and I thought, that's a good safe spot. I guess I must have forgot about them. But come wintertime, and all at once, Dad was telling me something about the heater was smelling, and was wondering what happened. He found the candy bars anyway, but they kind of melted a little bit. So that was kind of humorous. With growing up, Bill being a little bit older, I really looked up to him, and we really played a lot, had a good time. Very seldom did we ever get in fights. I remember actually only one fight. I don't know if Phil remembers that or not, on Pleasant Valley School. Played some game, and they were beating us. I feel bad now about it, but about the fight, not about getting beat. With Sharon, we had, when I was younger, I know she did some teasing, and we had some good times too. But at one time, I got in Dutch because we were playing a game. I locked her in the chicken house, and then went to do something else, and I forgot about her and left her in there. And I remember she had a jackknife, and she tried to get the latch open from inside, and ended up breaking the blade on her jackknife. And I kind of caught a little heck for that. That sticks in my mind. But we used to do spend a lot of time in the wintertime sledding. In the summertime we explored the woods a lot, tried to make some forts and stay up there. The one thing I don't remember, and I actually should ask the folks, I don't remember playing games with Dad. I don't know if that didn't happen or if it just was before I can recall. I do remember he took us hunting one time, showed us how to squirrel hunt. always was impressed with how good a shot he was. We come back from the hunting, squirrel hunting, and some pigeons on the barn roof, and he was standing up by the machine shed, and just freehand up and shot the pigeon. I'd have to have a rest to try to duplicate that. I couldn't do that freehand. Really appreciated the help that they had gave on building the house with hauling all the dirt in, and he was involved. He cut all the rafters for us. Mother's brother Chet, he also helped. He'd get up on the roof and help nail the rafters. They had stayed on the ground normally, but he did all the cuttings of the tails and the angle cuts. And then later he hauled all the dirt up from the flats using this old truck and the tractor, and then later spread the dirt around. That was really appreciated. So those are a few of the things that I can recall now. And I had some problems in school, and one was reading. And in the earlier grades, Mother would try to sit down and work with me on reading. And whatever was going on, it wasn't working. We usually both end up crying before the lesson was over. And, I did improve in reading, but my spelling never did. I don't know what happened on that, but I'm still a terrible speller.
And that leads us to our next question. If you could do it all over again, go back in time, what things, if any, would you change? Grandpa?
Well, I don't think I'd change much. I don't know of anything oh, maybe I would have done a few things differently. Probably wouldn't have been so reckless with my money when I was younger.
Grandma?
Like I had more fun than I did.
How so?
Well, had more friends maybe, and
I heard a story, Grandpa. I don't know, last time I was here. It was pretty interesting about rats in your silo. Can you tell us that again? Or?
Oh, years ago, we was pestered with rats. We went to clean the saddle out and get ready to fill the saddle. And our man went down the saddle, and there was a lot of rats in the bottom of the saddle. And we decided we got them out.
How many rats were there about?
About 35.
How'd you get them out?
The club.
All right, and then, Grandma, what's the difference between, you said there used to be an old house right here, was it? What's the difference between this house and the one that stood here before this one?
well, that one had how many bedrooms were there upstairs?
5.
5 bedrooms upstairs? 2 stairways to go upstairs.
Wow. How come there was 2 stairways? Just
Back stairs, front stairs.
Upstairs.
was that house a lot bigger than this one then, or?
14 rooms. And most of them were 16-foot square.
And a lot of doors in the house.
To outside?
To outside. How many was there? There was 2 in the kitchen.
5. 4.
2 in the kitchen and the dining room.
5 it was. Two front doors. Hall door and bedroom door. living room door, kitchen door, 2 kitchen doors, 5 outside doors.
When the house burned, did it burn really quickly, or did you have time to save a lot of things, or not?
It didn't burn down,
Oh, it didn't.
just the roof.
Huh.
There's everything.
Good.
Yeah, okay, that safe that's in the bedroom, was it Catherine and Kenny Morley?
Yeah.
Carried that out, and how they ever lifted it outside, I do not know.
Wow.
It's heavy.
If I recall correctly, that when you had three families living here, or just 2, or you had you and your kids, and then Grandpa's parents, right? Or
Dad.
Your dad. So how many kids, or how many people would that be then?
My dad lived here too.
Your dad lived here too, plus a hired hand sometimes?
Yes.
Wow.
Table full like we had for supper tonight every day.
Kept you busy.
I did. Nine, 10 every meal.
What different kinds of animals did you have?
Chickens, cows, pigs, horses.
Dog.
As a parent now, that I think about a lot is how much time my parents spent with kids, not only their own kids, but other kids. They were both involved in 4-H. They were both leaders. Dad always worked with the kids with the cattle and the machinery, and Mom was one of the sewing instructors for 4-H. And to me, it's, I guess I'm amazed how much energy they must have had at that time. Even, I would like to be that involved myself, but I don't have that kind of energy that they had. And I guess some of the other things that amazes me is both Mom and Dad took time to make sure that I got to go to a lot of sporting events. They both enjoyed watching basketball and football. We traveled a lot, not only to games here and not only games in Baraboo, but I remember going to tournaments at getting the milking done, and they would we'd go up to La Crosse and stuff, and that's a couple-hour drive. That's quite a feat to get the milking done and stuff like that, and still get up there and see the games, and then get back here and get up in the morning and do the milking again, and maybe do the same thing again the next night, because a lot of times it was a Friday and a Saturday night tournament game.
So you didn't have the option to stay overnight, or?
Well, somebody
Too
had to
much,
come.
yeah.
Somebody had to come home and do the milking.
Yeah.
And that was one thing about growing up on the farm. We had a hired man, but very seldom did the hired man do the milking. The hired man did the field work, and somebody always had to be around to milk cows morning and night. Dad's involvement with education, all the years that he spent on the school board, that was, as a youngster, I didn't think about it too much, but now I look back, and he was very dedicated to making things better for youth and teachers. And I guess I wonder about, in a way he didn't like politicians, but on the other hand he was a politician trying to get the right things done. I don't think he liked politicians because he always figured they were full of beans. Of course, maybe he was part of the time too. But it seemed like he was truly trying to better the community. And I guess I question some of the people on our boards these days, whether their real intent is better the community or make a name for themselves. And I guess that, like, Dad always, whether he was on the school board or whatever board he was on, he demanded and usually got respect from the people that were his peers. That always, or it impressed me, talking to other people that he had worked with, how much they did respect him and his views. I take a lot of pride in that now. Way more now than probably I did when I was a teenager. I didn't care when I was a teenager. One of the sayings Dad always, you had a question on here about my brothers and sisters. It seemed like Sharon and I would always fight when I was younger, just terribly. And one or the other of us would end up crying, you know. I remember Dad would always say, "You better stop your crying or I'll give you something to cry about," you know. That was always one of his favorite sayings. Fortunately, we get along better now.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that's been very special to both Barb and I was when we built our new home, that Grandpa and Grandma let us stay there, and Grandpa was up here working every day overseeing things. And not only that, I guess it was what else was special about it was a family effort. Both Phil and Warren helped, and Sharon and Ted helped. It was just an overall effort, and I guess that was something that was very, very special to Barb and I both. And we do mention it whenever anybody asks us about who built our home. We said, well, it was a family project. And I think Grandpa took great pride in being up here and seeing everything was done right. I guess that's one of the real special things that in the recent years, there are many numerous things that we could mention, but that's one of the most recent.
Yesterday, you came to lift me up, as light as straw and brittle as a bird. Today, I weigh less than a shadow on the wall, just one more whisper of a voice unheard. Tomorrow, leave the windows open as fear grows. Please hold me in your arms. Won't you help me if you can to shake this anger? I need your gentle hands to keep me calm. 'Cause I never thought I'd lose, I only thought I'd win. I never dreamed I'd feel this fire beneath my skin. I can't believe you love me. I never thought you'd come. I guess I misjudged love between a father and his son. Things we never said come together. The hidden truth no longer haunting me. Tonight we touched on things that were never
is the most memorable dog? Or maybe your favorite that you've had over the years?
Ginger.
Ginger? She was a golden retriever?
No, we had an old collie that was just about as good as Ginger years ago.
When Sharon was the baby, we put a blanket out in the yard, and Grandpa sat out there, but the dog wouldn't let her get off of the blanket.
Wow.
Every time she'd start to roll toward Ginger's blanket, the dog would get over on that side and stop her from going off.
And another time, the kids had just a little dog. And your dad and Warren were walking down the road, and somebody came along and hit the dog, I'd say on purpose. And Philip came carrying the dead dog up to the house. It was a puppy.
Yeah.
Hmm. You said Ginger was your favorite dog. What'd you like about her more than any other one? Just her behavior,
Her behavior. She's good with the kids. She could catch a ball and
Yeah, I remember.
bring stuff. You know, you'd throw a ball and she'd always bring it. Well, fool you a little, but always bring it back to you.
I remember. We pretty much grew up when we were kids. She was here
Yeah.
for most of our childhood. Young.
What one did we have? And your mom, she didn't like it.
That was a little Tippy.
That was before she was married. Your dad always took the dog in the car with him.
Mm-hmm.
And if he took her, if she was here, the dog got in the car ahead of her.
The seat between them.
She was scared of that dog, though. Was that the one that wouldn't let nobody else sit in that chair out in the porch?
Yeah.
With Grandpa?
Yeah.
We always had a chair out in the porch about like that one over there. It was Grandpa's chair. But the dog would come on the porch and it wouldn't let nobody else in the chair. And usually it'd get behind you, wouldn't it?
Yeah. You got in the chair, you jump over there under the chair and push you out.
Well, she was scared of lightning, was she?
Yeah.
That I didn't like.
A lot of dogs do
Well, I guess Ginger was too,
Yeah,
because Ginger,
She stayed in the garage, didn't she, when?
she
Go
crawled under our bed that one.
Well, Trixie got in there a couple times. She didn't get under the bed, but she was in there.
I mean, Trixie wasn't scared of storms.
Yes, she was.
It was Mike's dog, Sandy.
Sandy was scared too.
Trixie wasn't scared.
Yes, she was. She
Okay.
didn't get in the house that often then. I mean, in the summertime. She was out in the garage. She was scared.
Last question I have written down here. If you could go anywhere in the whole world, where would it be? Grandpa?
I really don't know. I have said I would like to go to Alaska, but I don't know if I'd make it or not.
Grandma?
I've got no place special. If we're able next summer, I'd like to go up into, take that train ride.
To?
And,
Up in Canada.
Canada.
Oh.
I don't know, is that a week's trip?
3 days, 4 days.
She said it's really pretty.
Must be 40s.
Is there anything else?
Well, I've had your kids up here an awful lot.
Yeah, how's that?
How's that?
Yeah.
How come we tolerated him?
Your mom brought Brian, she had to have an operation. Your dad brought your kids up. Brian had chicken pox. Did the car catch on fire when they were coming up? You had trouble with it.
She had trouble with it, but she didn't catch on fire.
And I was scared that Brian would catch a cold because he had the chicken pox, and then you and Mark got the chicken pox when you were here. You were here for a month.
Really?
Yes, you were. And you wouldn't go to nobody else but me. And I just about had it. Mark would sit on one side of me and I had to hold you because I didn't want you to scratch. And you were just absolutely covered from head to toe with chicken pox.
Wow.
Just bottom of your feet, your butt, and just, wasn't he?
Yeah. He really broke out with him.
Sat up a couple nights with you, I guess.
I remember being sick here a couple times.
But you wouldn't go to nobody else but me. And I didn't want you to scratch. I didn't want you to cry. We're up here, must have been a month.
During the winter time, or?
Yeah, it was in the winter time. I know it was cold when they came up and they had car trouble. They had Sharon's old car that stopped on them or something, and I was afraid Brian would catch a cold and then get really sick.
Uh-huh.
But you two kids were miserable. It was that old chair there that we sat in. Held you and Mark beside of me, I guess.
Let's see.
And Brian, when he came up, he always wanted to be on the tractor, and one day he was gone. They had a combine up in the shed. I wondered where Brian was. Here he crawled up into the combine. And he was little, I don't know.
The other day we looked for him and he was down across the road on
Yeah.
the tractor. He got down there.
So they put a lock on the door, and he pulled the chair over.
That's the reason that lock is on that door. Where you
Pulled
turn
the
it up.
chair over
Well,
to the
Oh.
door and could turn it, you know. And was it you, or was it Mark? They got all ready to go to church, went down cellar, got in the
Well, that
ashes.
was Mark.
Wow,
Got the ash tub downstairs.
Down by the...
I was very happy. I think Grandpa was supposed to be watching him.
Grandpa was shaving and changing his
Okay.
clothes, and
Well, anyway.
Mark was ready to go and all cleaned up. And well, Brian was here too, wasn't he?
I don't remember that, but I can remember.
Down the cellar, we left the cellar door open by mistake. Downstairs he went. Big tub of ashes down there, and he was up playing in the ashes.
Another time, that was Mike, played on the cellar steps. We told him not to play on the cellar steps. And he fell right off the steps. And I was scared to go and look because I thought because he didn't cry or nothing. Your dad he went down and picked him up. He wasn't hurt, well,
Scared when you were hurt.
scared, but he didn't cry, or anything, and oh my gosh.
Uh-huh.
Fall off the steps in the cement down there. So,
Which one of them came down there? And one of them come down the steps in the house, you two.
well, they used to take a blanket, come down the stairs.
Oh, I remember that.
You did that too.
Pillowcases I thought I was in, but
Oh.
whatever. Blankets, yeah.
Maybe that was before they had the
Or had the carpet on.
carpet on the steps.
That's a long time ago. Seems like.
And another time, Jason stayed here. Do you remember that at New Year's? And he got sick?
Jason Terry?
Yeah. And he vomited in that chair. He vomited on the floor. I suppose he thought that was the bathroom. I don't know.
Oh, when he slept on here? Or?
You kids always slept in the... You were all here.
Oh, when all of us were here and we used to sleep on the
Floor.
floor.
Yeah. And I think he vomited on you and...
Yeah.
We got that mess cleaned up, and that was the same day my brother died.
Yeah.
And did he live around here?
He lived in town.
Oh.
He's just ready to... Guess we had sat down to the table.
No, we didn't sit down at New Year's table, or dinner table, but we were right ready to.
How'd he die?
Heart attack.
No, I think he got...
Well, he might have got a little too much
I
gas too,
think
but
he got
I think the heart played out.
garage door went shut on him. I think he got... What did he get?
Asphyxiated.
Huh. And you also told me that, I don't know, my dad or all of the kids or whatever planted the pine trees down by the pond. How much land did you, or do you own, or did you, or whatever? How much is?
How much was he that?
Well, it was 160 below the road.
No, but you used to have, what, 300 acres?
No, no.
Never
We sold
300?
off.
No, you used to, though.
No.
Your dad didn't have that many acres?
273 it
Oh.
was. And then we sold off 13 acres twice
And that, where was that at?
down west. Klitsky's got, Klitsky's got the field on the west side down there. There's two fields there.
How much was up here?
Well, there's 80 on this side of the road.
That included Young's and
Yeah.
did it not Morley's?
Young's and Warren's and Sharon's and the schoolhouse and...
Cummings, and
Cummings.
Mikey's. And now Mike.
yeah, and then who was first? Was Warren? Warren first built the house up there,
Yeah.
and then Laszlo's. Where did Warren and Sharon live before that? In town?
Lived in Beaver Dam.
Oh.
He taught school in Beaver Dam 4 years. Then he came back here and taught and lived over in Camp Kruger's. Till he could get this house built.
when there was a vacancy here in school. Teacher.
He decided to build the house.
Well, he wanted to come back.
Uh-huh. And he built that himself, or? And then might as well move to now. Mike. Log cabin.
So the next thing,
Move
your
the
dad
house.
will have to buy the farm, and
Move the house.
you can have this for summer. A summer retreat and a hunting place, and because I won't let Grandpa sell anymore. No more land. Unless we have to lose it.
Sell it off, make her to a time to pay the taxes on it.
I still wish we'd never sold him that, but it's gone, so. A little pony cart here. And your dad and Mark went up the road. Come back and he talked to somebody. Did the horse get anxious to get home?
Yeah, she got excited and nervous. Took off.
Mark could have been, he's had a lot of bad accidents.
Yeah.
He could have been killed.
He didn't have a backrest on the cart.
No, and then your dad
Backrest
got
was on-
hurt,
Same
but
backrest
he-
as just a seat on the cart.
Uh-huh.
The fills folded down in the front of the car, dumped him off.
Oh.
So he ducked down on the ground.
oh God.
None of them got seriously injured though, huh?
Well, your dad got hurt, but
He didn't get hurt too bad. Hurt his
hurt
leg.
leg.
Jeez. Which pony was that? Was that
That was a white one.
what, Asia?
I don't think we ever drove her after that, did we?
I don't know.
Yes, yes we did. Few times.
That's enough story.
Yeah.
That's the end.
Well, thank you very much. And, till next time, I guess.
Ups and downs. Downs and up.
Yes, I think we had a pretty good 40 minutes.
Good.
You want us to go in the garbage again? No. Yeah, put in the garbage. I'm gonna put in the garbage. Oh, garbage is moving. I can't put in the garbage. What are you doing, Jenny?
Honey, she's pretty happy for you. You might hurt your back.
Well, your dad can come with me once. But we're gonna, we'll get Grandma and him to start. Not very often.
What for me? It's Ted Burke. And then
To a point, yeah.
Sharon had him going more long and stuff. Party, but he didn't tell me about it.
No, you're supposed to get up and start flying.
I'm supposed to.
Yeah,
I ain't been hungry yet.
Well, run around the house a couple times.
Is this the way you want us to do it?
Here, I guess we're supposed to be next in line here.
I don't need it.
We're exactly alike. That she had put some people's names on it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What'd you do? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. We just gotta fix it.
Yeah, they have 6 of them. That used to be all of them. Now the girls play fast pitch, the boys play slow pitch. Don't make sense. Yeah, that's dropped out. Well, every town. They don't go to a baseball field that way. Spring Green, yeah, Tasnovia still plays. Yes, they did. Still do that. Yeah.
Merrimack had Kenny Bell.
Carl Grant. Oh, he's a character. Oh, I like it. Philosopher. I call him the old philosopher.
Sumter chairman too, ain't he?
He knows that.
The garden there. You want it?
Can't pick that out. Lee played what Klingmeyer played left. Look at that.
Bye-bye. I gotta get my ride. It's a long walk.
Wave to the camera. Are you ready?
Are you?
Doing last.
What's in a hurry?
Wait till the baby's sick. A friend of mine.
Got a job from that.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. We earn a little money once in a while.
My dad worried a little bit too. Oh, God. I took that, I never should have taken a space stick. I had 3 spades. Took a trick with it. Oh, man. Daughter dead?
That's my daughter, yeah. That's my daughter, Julie.
Good.
Why don't you turn
Both of you.
around?
Throw that one away.
Here comes Brian.
Does anybody else want some beer?
I'm gonna go down the way. How you doing, Grandpa?
What did I do? I really think it's I don't know.
Not as good as Mike. Better than everybody works at though. Uh-oh.
I didn't even write.
Are you writing on the cycle yet?
Oh, not yet.
I went riding down the first.
Julie doesn't think that's really smart yet. One of these days, though, right?
300 miles on it.
One of these days.
I didn't know
Dan.
Oh, there he goes. He's gonna smile.
Ready?
Oh, wait, no, you look like
I would just like to take a moment to say thank you to the people that made this project possible. Certainly Grandma and Grandpa for letting me ask them a few questions a few years ago. Also, Aunt Sharon, my dad, Uncle Warren, and Uncle Mike.